Social workers feel helpless. Case managers are overwhelmed with cases. And then you got the police and you're dealing with 1,000 people out here on the streets. There's nobody to help them. But now they see this person, right, who cared enough and was willing to do something.
Helping these people is everything to me.
She is directly responsible for me being alive.
I live and breathe to serve you.
But I thought this was, an incredible story for people, audiences to hear what you've done, Bobbi Jo, with this ministry. I just think it's, incredible. You've had the documentary out for a little bit. Have you heard some great responses from it?
Yeah, we've got lots of really good input, even from people that aren't directly affected by addiction. I mean, they're like, man, I watch this movie and I'm just thinking I need to do more in my life. And so it inspires those not even directly impacted by addiction. So it's touching people's hearts and opening up their mind. And, addiction has been a dirty word for a long time. People kind of frown upon an addict or an alcoholic. So it's opening. I love what the film stirs up in people.
No, I think there's a lot of different things that you could actually take from it, like you're saying. I think one of the really interesting things that I took from it is our company Movie Guide is all about the influence of media and, parents relating to kids and keeping kind of interaction and spending time with kids. And I thought it was interesting that you said that your personal life, you kind of were individuals in your houses. Like,
yes,
you kind of were isolated individuals doing their own thing. Can you kind of talk more about that and why it's really necessary for parents to be like really involved with their kids and what they're doing?
Yeah, my mom, we really didn't know it at the time, but she had undiagnosed mental illness. And my dad was a chronic worker. He was gone all the time. And then me and my two brothers, we all worked jobs at the same place. And so we were very siloed. And we were kind of I believe we were a family of secrets, right? So you don't let any of the stuff going on in the house out because it would embarrass people. And you didn't want to embarrass your dad or your mom. And they just really overlooked. I mean, I was spiraling out of control at 12, 13 years old. And it's like nobody really noticed, or if they did notice, they didn't want to bring it to the light. And I think with addiction, we can't keep it in the dark anymore. If parents are seeing a difference in their child's behaviors or attitudes but we don't know that's happening unless we sit down and eat dinner together, right? And have time together and spend time. So, yeah, I think that happens a lot. People are so busy now that everybody's siloed in the house.
Yeah, especially now that everybody has their own iPads and they're sitting.
iPhones.
Brent, for you, how was the story? What was?
So sorry.
It's okay. Brent, for you, how was the story? What was compelling about it that you wanted to go forward with the story? There's a lot of elements that were compelling, but I want to hear from you.
One of the most compelling was the journey that and her whole life story goes from a dark place out to an incredible light. I mean, if you get around Bobbi Jo, there's this incredible lightness about her and an incredible energy, and people feed off of it. And when I met Bobbi Jo, I felt that, and then I needed to know more about that. Like, how do you maintain this energy? How do you do this job and give your life to so many people? I mean, Bobbi Jo's just giving 24/7 to her community. And I think I'm kind of selfish, but Bobbi Jo's way more, selfless. It's a Freudian slip. But Bobbi Jo is one of the most selfless people that I ever met. She's giving of herself always. And I see what I think that's where that light comes from. And I wanted to be around that, and I wanted to share her story with everybody and let them, and hopefully bring to many people what I see in what she's doing. I mean, it's there's a ripple effect when you get around her, and hopefully the movie will have that ripple effect.
Bobbi Jo, your conversion was just so incredible. You know, the life before you lived and then when you came to Christ. Can you know, why is telling your testimony so important, basically? Why is that a message that is so important for people to hear and for people to tell their own testimonies?
Right. Well, one of the things is that when you're in addiction, you feel very alone and you feel like you're the only one going through this stuff. I'm so sorry. Do you want me to?
You're fine.
Okay. Anyway, you feel very alone and by yourself. And, you know, I found out early on that by sharing what was going on with me with other people helped them because they could draw strength through me and what I was doing. I think that I'm not embarrassed about any of my story because that's who I used to be. That's not who I am today. And I'm sorry, the dog is just wanting to talk. Here, let me get anyway, your baby is behaving much better than my dog is behaving. Anyway, so I am blessed. And you know what? I'm not embarrassed about any of that because that's not who I am today. But you know what? I'm grateful to God that he let me experience what he did so I could be useful to him. Really, once I got that relationship with Christ, it seemed like my whole world came together. This is not a job to me. This is my life. This is what God created me to do in my life. I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. And now I get to be exactly what I was supposed to be. And that's helping others. I know the movie is kind of hard to watch at times and listen to, but I am so blessed that I was chosen to be able to help other people. And when I talk to them, they get it. The people coming through, they're like, man, if she can do it, I can. So it's about hope and sharing what God has done in my life to give hope for others.
It's really given you purpose. I think, you know, being a follower of Christ really gives you purpose. It's a lot of, you know, I have a lot of friends that aren't Christians and I feel like they're questioning a lot of things. And I feel like once you become a Christian and decide to follow God, it's like, I know my purpose and I feel peace about what I'm doing with my life, you know? Yes. I think it's interesting. My father, he became a Christian and he had a testimony past somewhat similar to yours in terms of using drugs and partying and using women and stuff. And then he became a Christian and he said the day that he became a Christian, it all stopped. You know, it all went away and he finally saw clear, like he saw the colors clearly and he saw life clearer and he had joy. And so he still tells his testimony too. And it's a big thing. And it's started our nonprofit, which is Movie Guide also, but
awesome.
So I love that. But Brent, for you guys and Donna, how was the experience when you're actually recording everybody? I can't imagine just hearing these stories come in and just your heart not breaking or you know, it also brings joy, but in the story, I'm sure you're crying and emotional and hearing it all. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, we would go interview. We know Bobbi Jo's story, and when we were interviewing her, you know, it gets quite detailed, and we were moved many times, and you know, there's darkness and then there's light. So you know, you got to kind of, that's what the movie will take you through as well. You go through a dark time and then come out with some hope in the end. And everybody that we met had that story, that sort of dark to light story, and they had it in detail, and it was their truth, and it was from the heart, and it was real, and it was effective. And it just, man, I turn on the camera and start talking, and some of them were just like, bam, they had, you know, most of them, they had my attention, and I was drawn in, and I'm just going, oh, wow, where am I going to go with this? And their stories just came out. You know, I had a little bit of a plan, but it just got to the heart right away, and it was honest and real and truthful and incredibly moving. And that, from the first day the first time we shot Bobbi Jo, that happened to us. We were driving away in the car going, we got something here. This is amazing. She's got star quality. She's got enthusiasm that that charisma comes out, and to be in her position, she's got a lot of charisma and enthusiasm, and that keeps that place vibrant and alive, and that permeates through the people that are there. And it came through in the interviews, and it's on the film. And it's going to go out and have that ripple effect. I hope, that was my goal, to get that in the film.
I know. Bobbi Jo, you are so well spoken, and I'm amazed that you can tell. I was watching it with my husband. I told my husband, I'm amazed that you can tell your story without getting too emotional, and that you're so open about it. Has that taken over years, or you just feel like this is, it is totally God's calling, and
Right.
even how you can speak, you're well spoken and interesting and stuff. So I really do think that this is a natural fit from God, but has
Yes.
it taken a little bit of time to get more comfortable with it, or?
Well, I told my story. I for years I went to treatment centers and hospitals and detoxes, and I would share my experience, strength, and hope with people. And I was the president of our alumni association at the treatment center, so I got to speak and talk to a lot of people. And of course, I flunked. I had to give a speech in 7th grade, and I totally flunked it because I started laughing during it. But God has just anointed me to be able to share the story. Now, there were a couple times when we were filming that I got affected just sharing the story. And but I pulled it back together. I don't have any ill feelings for the people that from the graves and different things like that. I don't have any ill feelings. The Lord forgave me, and so who am I not to forgive other people? I've never really been through regular type counseling. I think the Lord has mended my heart and gave me the ability to overcome that and not be grasping that. We could become a victim, right? I'm not going to be a victim today. I'm a victor with Christ. He's my daddy, and he's the best. And so I just trust in him with all things. And all the pain that I've been through, it's not part of me anymore. It's not who I am. What does it say? I'm a new creation through Jesus Christ, right? And I am.
I love that. You're pumping me up right now just talking to you.
I baptized Brent in the swimming pool last summer before last.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes I tell him it maybe could have been a double dunk on him when he gets a little ornery. We have become great friends, all of us as well.
Really? And then, and any of the people from your way past, have you been able to reach those people, and have they heard your story? Or, I guess sometimes you wouldn't know, but has anybody reached out to you?
Oh, I always have people reaching out, people that have been through here. We have contact with many people that have came through Healing House and then moved on. They own businesses, they hire people. Everybody really is excited about this coming out, but they're stoked. And it's a great story. It's a great story of what God can do. It's the story of redemption and love and hope. What more could we want, right?
I think it's a good one for kind of teens or older teens.
Yeah.
My dad always told me his testimony of using drugs and how it was so unfulfilling. And I think it helped, none of my siblings went into that, because I think we heard about it early on and it wasn't compelling to us. So, we were watching it last night and we were like, well, I think we're going to show this to our girls, when they're older teens, they can really grasp it and kind of see that doesn't bring you joy, and
Right.
and Christ does bring you joy. So
Absolutely.
Well, that's something too. When Brent and I were looking to do this, we have 2 daughters that are teenage girls, and some of the things that were happening to Bobbi Jo at such a young age. I mean, it was just so, it was, you know, personal for us because I'm a mom of 2 teen girls. And so we wanted to make sure that the dialogue continues in our home and that we have that openness. And our daughters have been, you know, very involved because we had edit suite in our basement. And so it's been in our home this whole time. And I think that we've had the opportunity to now share that with their friends and with, and I think that it is really a good message to get out to, you know, teen boys and girls, to have them understand, like, it really, you know, it really can happen to anyone. And that's what people need to understand. You know, the terrible, tragic things that happened to Bobbi Jo were awful, but her pathway there was not unique. It happens to a lot of people. It's just a small series of poor choices that can take you in a direction that you really don't see coming. And obviously I don't think her family did either. It's just, so I think it is really important that we get this messaging out.
It's something to get people talking. You know, it's like, you want to talk to your kids about something, you can watch this movie and then talk about it and, you know, cover a lot of bases. Cause like Bobbi Jo said, a lot of households, everybody's got a lot of secrets and nobody's talking. And if we can get people talking, you know, that's whenever my girls come home, I said, you know, when I can tell when they're upset, and I'm like, I'm here to listen. I'm not going to judge you. Just let me know what's going on so we can have a dialogue back and forth. So
That's awesome.
it's helped me, you know, and I hope it'll help other people open up that communication with anyone in their family. Like everybody we talk to, there's somebody that you know, somebody in the family, whether it's not an immediate family, struggles with alcoholism or addiction.
Mhm.
It's just around. And if people were talking about it, they could understand it and they might be able to help that person.
God had much bigger plans.
She's steady buying houses. Steady buying houses.
The growth is overwhelming.
It's about creating a home-like atmosphere and love and compassion. That's what it's about.
When she told me welcome home, I just knew that it was all going to be okay.
Whatever you have a compassion for, that's not a job. That's a calling.
How on earth did this all happen?